Welcome to our deep relaxation class.
Hariom and Namaste. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you can make it to today's deep relaxation offering. My name is Brian. I'll be facilitating this deep relaxation practice. And I call it a practice because it really is something that, at least for me, I have to come back and practice each and every time. And then I got to go out into life and practice taking those moments to pause and relax, and also find that balance between work hard and relax equally as much. So without further to say, I'm going to go ahead and just get us started. For this evening's class, I was really feeling like we haven't had as much time at the end of practice for like nice long chill out periods. So today, if you're really just needing a little extra rest or need a new perspective on something in your life, then I've got just the way to start for you. So we're going to start this evening's practice with our usual breath awareness exercises, but we're going to do it from a totally different perspective, as I've already alluded to. So we're going to come into a legs up the wall pose. Legs up the wall pose is, exactly what it sounds like. You're going to sit with your sitting bones as close as you can to the wall, and I'll demonstrate this in just a moment, but my back will be turned to you when I do, so I want to walk you through it now. So you can kind of scooch up with one hip really close to the wall, and then as you come to lay down on your back, you're going to have your sitting bones and your legs resting on that wall. And you really want almost no space between the back of your posterior, your rear end, and the wall. You can also grab, if you wish, something to kind of like a little blanket roll or pillow for your head, but likely you're in a comfortable, clear open space, you can just let your head and upper body rest on the floor. So I'm going to go ahead and set us up there for about maybe as much as 3 minutes. So I'm going to set a little timer here. You can go ahead and get yourself comfortable. And then go ahead and just rest there. And while you're resting in your legs up the wall pose, I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And then exhale out your mouth if you didn't already. So this pose is really great for kind of, like I said, getting a new perspective on something in your life. It's good for your lower back. It allows the lymph to drain out of the feet and legs. If you've been on your feet a lot today, this would be a nice place to relax and unwind. Just take a few more of those nice deep breaths in through your nose and exhale, let it go out your mouth. After you've taken a handful of those long exhalations out the mouth, just let your breath return to its natural state. Maybe just gently pick up each arm and then gently set it down. You can gently pick up the head and let the head and neck very gently and mindfully twist from side to side until it finds its natural resting spot. You can sort of stretch the muscles of the face, wrinkling up the nose and stretching the nose long, maybe even opening the eyes and taking a little eye movement here, scanning your surroundings with your eyes, just so that everything gets a little chance to get the wiggles out and then come back to eyes closed, face relaxed. Got about another minute to 90 seconds here. Start to let your breaths be a little bit deeper and more intentional. Now, once you get comfortable here, it's hard to want to move and do anything else, but we're going to go ahead and move into some other wonderful stretches and different deep relaxation exercises here. So you can just start to reach your hands up and overhead. Like you're making a snow angel, you could just reach your hands down along the side body. You can bend one knee and then both knees in towards the chest and just pause. There's no rush. Come out of this at your own time and pace. And I wish there was a more graceful way to come back to my mat, but you kind of sort of have to just gently scoot yourself back until you're far enough away from the wall. And then when you're ready, just come to rest on your left side on your mat. Make sure that there are no blocks or props or anything super close. And just take a moment. You can just rest your head down, or if you prefer, you could prop your head up. But just take a moment on your left side here to relax. Knees bent, hands, arms doing whatever they got to do to be comfortable. You can have your eyes gently open or closed. And we're going to start getting some blood moving here in the side body. Just reach your right hand up, reach it up and overhead. Start to straighten the legs. And we're going to make like a little letter C here with the body. All right. By just stretching the legs out behind. This would be like a backward C, I guess. A mirrored C. And then reaching the hands behind, taking like a little back bend. And then we'll do the same thing, but this time we'll start to press the legs out in front, reach the hands out in front, rounding through the back. And then go ahead and do that again. Last time towards the front. Very good. Now go ahead and come back to your side. Bring that deep bend back in the knees. And we're going to move through a few of these clamshell activities just to get the blood pumping through the hips and warm up our glute medius. So we're just going to keep the feet together and very slowly open this top knee. You're going to have a little bit of like a squeeze at the top. You can feel that glute working if you just rest your hand right here. And then again, you're just going to open, gentle squeeze, and then relax. And we'll just do that 10 times total. So let's do 8 more on this side. These are great exercises for hip stability and glute med tone. I'll just do 1 or 2 more. And now we're actually going to stay here on the side for just 1 or 2 more activities. We're going to do a little bit of different kind of stuff today. So I'm actually going to come up onto my left forearm now, and I'm going to lift into a side plank with my knees down. So I'm going to make sure that this elbow is stacked right underneath this shoulder. I'm going to really firmly press the floor away here, okay? And then I'm just going to lift my hips up. I'm going to bring my knees back a little bit so that my knees are in alignment with that elbow. And then I'm going to do just a couple more of those clamshells. If you want to, you could raise the top hand or let the top arm rest down, or just gently prop a finger on the floor. So I'm keeping this hip lifting up. Good job. And I'm keeping the ankles together. Your head can look up or look down or just look straight forward. Just do 2 more of those clamshell activities. And then go ahead and rest. Reach your left hand far up and overhead. All right, with our right hand on the floor, we're gonna do some shoulder mobility. All right, this is something I learned during a rolfing workshop, which is another body work modality. So you're just gonna keep contact with any part of your hand or fingers in the floor. And we're gonna start with a little backstroke here. All right, you can actually turn and open and let the shoulder blade fall back, drag the fingers along the floor. I'm gonna kind of rearrange some of these props, maybe scoot forward a little bit so I can get a full range of motion here. I'm just gonna do, let's say 6 or 7 of these backstrokes. Try not to rush through them. If you find yourself racing through any part, just go back through on that next one and slow it down. And explore what it was about that area you were racing through. And then we'll just pause and we'll reverse and we'll do those 6 or 7 in this other direction now. And just pause a moment on this side. Take a little breath in, exhale it out the mouth. And then we'll go ahead and reverse the direction. So we'll just go ahead and come on to our right side. You can pause there a moment, get comfortable, make any little adjustments that you need to, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so we'll start our sequence on this right side with those gentle clamshells, working on that activation through the hips and glute medius. Your hands can rest wherever they're comfortable, and we're just going to simply open, gentle squeeze, and then slowly lower down. Also want to keep a little core engagement here. So you're kind of sucking your belly in, gently pressing your belly sort of up and into itself here so you're not hanging out in the lower back too much. That's a nice little kind of postural adjustment you can make at any time. You feel like there's pressure on the lower back, or for me, I start to actually feel it in my hips. I've got to remember to engage in the core there. Nice. So we'll go ahead and move on to those side planks where we'll do about 8 to 10 more of these. So remember your elbow is going to come right underneath of the shoulder. I'm going to pull my knees back just a little bit. When I'm ready, I'm going to lift this left hip and I'm going to do 8 to 10 more of these clamshell activators. Try not to hold your breath. Keep smiling, keep breathing. Let your face stay relaxed. Slowly lower back down. Oh, I almost forgot. We need to make our letter C's and have that little back bend and forward fold here. So we're going to make that lateral action now. We'll start with just a little back bend, pulling the heels back, reaching the backs of the hands back, and then rounding through the spine, reaching feet and hands forward for that letter C. We'll do that one more time. Great job. So coming back to rest, you can go ahead and let your head and neck just relax. If you prefer to keep it propped up, you can. We're going to go ahead and take about 7 of these back strokes, just letting the fingertips or back of the hand rest on the floor. You can turn it open into a little bit of a twist here. I'm going to kind of scoot forward to find more room. Try not to skip over any areas or move too quickly through any of these areas. Just experience this full allowance, this full range of motion in the shoulder. After this next one, we're going to switch the direction and repeat. One more time. Go ahead and gently just rest here on this right side for just another breath or two. And then we're going to go ahead and press up into our hands and knees, tabletop position. All right, so hands under shoulders, knees under hips. You can just start with some cat and cow, or you can make hip circles here. Just start to explore movement with the back of your body. For our traditional cat and cow, an inhalation is accompanied by the movement of tilting the tailbone away, hugging the elbows in, lifting through the head, neck, and chest, and then exhaling, chin tucks in, rounding through the spine, pressing away with the floor, and scooping the tailbone up and in. And then again, you can inhale, reverse, and repeat. And then, of course, you can add any of those adaptations or additional movements that we started to touch on. Kind of making like a little bit of a figure 8 shape, rolling the shoulders, the hips. You can drop the hips all the way back to like a semi-child's pose. So yours to explore here for the next 60 seconds. And then go ahead and slowly start to come back to center. All right, before we move into a little restful child's pose period, we're going to do some cross body stimulation here. I'm going to reach my right foot out behind, toes can tap or leg can lift, and then opposite hand will reach out in front, and we're going to hold here for one breath in, and one breath out, one more breath in, and one more breath out. Go ahead and set down knee and hand, and then prepare to repeat on the other side. So you'll be here for about 3 breaths total. Take your time, don't rush the breath. Try and keep that leg reaching out on a horizontal plane, hand reaching out on a horizontal plane, and only lifting high enough so that shoulders stay level and hips stay level. After that 3rd breath, go ahead and set down hand, set down knee, and we'll do that twice more on each side. So just 3 breaths. And switch. And when you're ready, you can move into the last time on each side. Knees wide, toes tucked or untucked. Sink the weight back towards the heels of the hands. Stretch out in front. Surrender the forearms and forehead to the mat for child's pose. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, reach your hands over to the right side of your mat. Reach the hands far and gently drop the weight back towards left hip. Inhale back to center and repeat on the other side. So hands will walk over to the left, body weight will sink back to the right. Inhale back to center. And we're going to spend a little bit of time resting on either the toes, like I am now, or on the tops of the feet. If that is really tough or unsustainable, I suggest grabbing some blocks or a big cushion, something that you could sit on. If you have a yoga bolster, those are great for this. All right. But we still want to get a little bit of a stretch in the tops of the feet here. But you might just need a block for that additional support. All right, so I want you just to find a comfortable place to rest either. And if this really isn't your jam, you don't really like this, you're more than welcome just to come and sit in what's called Sukhasana or easy seat, again, with the accompaniment of blocks if you wish. All right, you might just be more comfortable just to sit right here. Otherwise, we're going to find that Vajrasana or that hero's pose or thunderbolt pose. And regardless if you chose to tuck the toes, untuck the toes, or sit crisscross applesauce, just go ahead and pick up the shoulders. Exhale, set the shoulders back and down. Let the hands just rest on the knees or in the lap or down by your side if they can touch the floor. And just close your eyes here and just take a moment to check in with your breathing. Let everything else just go on pause as you take this time for yourself. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to be, just totally immersed in this present moment. Just enjoy and appreciate each breath as it comes without clinging or holding on. Just observe it as it goes. Welcome that next breath in as a gift, as a blessing, as another moment of life. Surrender that next exhalation as each moment of appreciation grows. So we'll just get to sit here and enjoy this next few moments as just sort of like an intramural meditation from the practice here. Let your face be soft and relaxed. Posture upright, supported, structurally aligned. Yet still soft and relaxed. And if your eyes are closed, just gently blink your eyes open. Let your hands come to touch in the center of your chest. Just take a moment of quiet gratitude and appreciation for that little unexpected treat. And then very carefully and mindfully join me to stand at the top of your mat. Feel free to grab a drink or towel off or take a little break if you need to. If you do have a couple of yoga blocks, you can bring those with you. If not, maybe the edge of a chair or something will work. All right. It's coming to stand near the top of your mat. We're going to take a nice big breath in. We've got our our feet underneath of our hips, okay? So not our hip flesh, which might be a little bit wider, but actually our structural hips which is no wider than this, okay? You can feel those hip flexors, all right, those little knobby bones under there somewhere, okay? They are there. You can find those, and that's where I want you to space your feet, not out here, not as wide as your mat, just underneath of your hips. And then we're going to press the hips gently forward. You can keep your hands at the lower back here. Pull the shoulder blades together and lift the chest. And then exhale, hinge from the hips. This is all centered around the hips. Forward fold, hugging the chin in. You can release the hands down to blocks or the floor or your shins. And then inhale up halfway, lengthen through the spine, shoulder blades pull together. And then exhale, release from the hips again, relax forward. Inhale, come all the way to standing, hands rise up last. Little back bend, if you prefer, you like that support, hands on the lower back, you can certainly do that. And then go ahead and just return to standing, relax the hands down. And we'll just take 2 more rounds of our sun breathing, inhaling, hands flowing up. Exhaling, hinging from the hips, folding forward. Inhaling up halfway. Exhaling, release. Inhaling, returning all the way back to standing. Exhaling, hands touching in front of the center of the chest. One more time on your own, at the pace of your own breath. We're going to move into a triangle pose next. So you can keep your left foot on the floor, take a big step back, come into like a high lunge with that right foot. And then we're going to turn and ground that right foot down. Okay. And then you want to make sure that you have your left foot sort of intersecting that right heel. In fact, you can even turn that right heel in a little bit. So it's maybe not like a 90-degree angle between your front foot and your back foot. Front foot is left foot, back foot is right foot. All right, so it's actually going to be a little bit more of an acute angle than that. We're going to turn and open the hips. Chest is going to be facing the camera here. I'm going to keep just a little micro bend underneath this leg. I don't want to hyperextend the leg, just a little bit of a bend. This back leg is going to be anchored down, straight and strong. Hands back to the hips, which we've already identified. I'm going to start to press my right hip back. Ooh, I feel that stretch already activating right there underneath of that left inner thigh and hamstring. I'm going to start to slowly reach those left fingertips down, keeping the chest open here. All right, I might not really need to go very far down at all. And then you'll start to feel this wonderful opening in the right side body. You can actually even reach your right hand up towards the sky here, spiraling open through the heart. You might like to have your eyes turned down at your left hand, which is resting on the shin or maybe a block. If it's too much to keep that right arm up, you can just keep the right hand on the right hip. Make sure that you're continuing to spiral open through the chest. Inhale up, bring a deep bend in that front leg, sweep the left hand up here. And exhale, relax the left hand down. Now to switch directions, we're just going to turn both feet to face forward, and then I'm just going to turn my right foot out here. All right, so I'm coming to a foundation for my triangle pose on the other side. Little micro bend in the front back leg straight and strong. Hips face forward, chest open. And then I'm going to start to have a little side body hinge here, pressing this left glute and hip back. Each side is going to be feeling a little differently. That's totally normal. Slowly bring a bend in that front leg. Sweep the front hand up. And exhale, relax, bring it back down. We're just going to come into one standing balancing pose here. We're going to come into a tree pose. All right. This is again going to open up the hips a little bit, work on balancing on each side. So go ahead and take a step forward with your left foot and reach your right knee up. Turn that right hip out to the side and place the foot either below or above the knee. A third option would be to just kind of kickstand those right toes on the floor. All right. The idea is to not struggle through this, not more than you need to. So just find an option that is accessible for you. Your hands can do whatever they got to do to help you balance. All right. And then really firm up through this standing leg. You can see a really subtle adjustment there. I'm sort of just hanging out versus leg engages, hanging out, leg engages. Again, making that core strong. And then opening, turning and opening with that right knee. Find a little bit of like a flow with the arms here if you wish. Just find a place to try and be as still as you can for 3 more breaths. And go ahead and lift that right knee, place the right foot down. Just make a couple of little hip circles in each direction here. And then we'll go ahead and move to the other side. So go ahead and take a little step forward with your right foot. Lift that left knee, turn and open the hip. Find a place to rest the left foot below or above the knee if that serves you, or kick standing. Let the hands kind of help you find a place to dial in. I always like to let my eyes focus on a singular spot, something not moving on the wall or carpet or floor. If you want to move into that arm flow, you can do that, or your arms can just rest in stillness. Find a place to rest as still as you can for just 3 more breaths. And then gently lift the left knee up, place the left foot down. Go ahead and find a place to come down and sit. Right, we're gonna close our physical practice with just a gentle seated twist. Any seated twist of your liking, I'll demonstrate two for you. One seated twist, you can step one foot over an out straightened leg. All right, keeping both sitting bones on the floor. It's really important to make sure you're twisting through the chest, torso, and abdomen here, or the full abdomen. All right, so don't create any lower back instability. So this is one option for a twist. You just are propped up on those fingers behind you. All right. That right foot, although you can't see it, is very securely touching the floor. Another version of a seated twist you could find yourself in would be that crisscross applesauce position. And just reaching one leg or one arm across opposite leg. And when you're ready, go ahead and switch sides. And then slowly release and come back to center. We're going to move into our final closing sequence. You can come to rest on your back if you prefer to stay in this seated position. We're just going to close the next minute or two in total silence. So you can find a place to rest for your Shavasana, in which case you can be laying down on your back, horizontal, on your mat. If you prefer to come back to sit, you can just make any little adjustments that you need to. Let everything relax, make those last minute little adjustments, and just let your eyes close, and then signal the start of your final relaxation with a nice long breath out your mouth. Om Shanti Shalom. When you're ready, you can just slowly start to make little movements in your fingers and toes. If you're lying on your back, you can take a nice full body stretch. And very carefully and slowly join us in the seated position. If you're already seated comfortably, you can bring your hands to touch in front the center of your chest. With just a slight tilt down of the chin towards the chest, head bowing towards the heart area. Just take one more reflective moment to rest in gratitude and appreciation for your breath, for the blessing of this body and this lifetime. Again, thank you so much for taking this time to nurture your own well-being. And I hope to see you again at